All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to break down two super important HTML techniques. Seriously, these are the things that take your web pages from looking kind of flat and basic to being really well organized and professional. You know, when you see a really polished website, have you ever wondered how they build those slick, complex navigation menus? Or how they get all that data to line up in these perfect grids? It looks complicated, right? But honestly, it all boils down to just a few simple core building blocks. And that's the secret, really. It's all about stacking and structuring simple HTML blocks in the right way. So today, we're going to master two of those techniques, nesting lists and building out some advanced tables. And we'll be using the fantastic examples from the Coder Army channel to guide us. Okay, so here's the game plan. We'll kick things off with the basics, then jump into lists within lists. After that, we'll get into building tables, tackle some more advanced layouts, and then it'll be your turn. Let's do this. All right, first up, beyond the basics. We need to really understand the power of nesting because this idea is what makes everything else possible. So, what is nesting? Well, at its heart, it's super simple. It's just the practice of putting one HTML element inside another one. That's it. You can think of it like those Russian nesting dolls, containers inside of containers. This one simple idea is how we build all the complex layers and structure you see on a web page. And, the source material had this brilliant analogy for any of you who are into programming. It's just like nested for loops, right? You can have a list that's running inside of another list. If you get that concept, you're already halfway there to understanding nested HTML. Okay, let's move from theory to practice. It's time to see how this works with lists, taking us from a simple list to something with multiple levels. So, take a look at this. On the left, you've got your super basic, standard, unordered list. Just a UL tag with some LI tags inside for a few countries. Simple, right? But what if we want to get more detailed? What if we want to list the cities inside each country? And boom, here's the magic trick. Look closely at the code. All we did was place a brand new unordered list, a whole new UL, inside the list item for India. And just like that, we've created an indented sublist. It gives our data this really clear parent-child relationship. Super easy, but super powerful. Okay, so a good question comes up here. Can you mix and match different kinds of lists? Like, can you put bullet points inside a numbered list? Oh, absolutely. And this is where nesting gets really, really powerful for creating super detailed outlines. Think of something like a daily meal plan. And check this out. This example just perfectly shows off the power of mixing and matching. At the top level, we've got a numbered list for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But then, inside each of those, we've got a bulleted list for the different courses. And we even go one level deeper with another numbered list for the cooking steps. You can see how you can build these incredibly detailed, multi-level structures. Okay, I think we've got a solid handle on lists. So now, let's take that same kind of structural thinking and apply it to something new, building tables to organize data. So to build pretty much any table, you really only need to know three basic tags to get started. You've got your main table tag, which is the container for the whole thing. Then you have TR for table row and TD for table data, which is just a single cell. Now here's a really critical point, so listen up. You have your TD for data, but you also have TH for table header. And it is so important to use the right one. This isn't just about making the text look bold. Using TH is what we call semantic. It sends a clear signal to things like screen readers and search engines that says, hey, this is a column title. It makes your data way more accessible and easier to understand, both for people and for machines. And if you want to level up your tables and make your code really professional and easy to read, you can use these structural tags. You can actually group your header rows inside a feed, your main data rows in a T-body, and any footer or summary info in a T-foot. It just keeps everything neat and tidy. So just look at this example here. See how clean that code is? It's perfectly organized, and it's semantically crystal clear. This is a huge help, not just for other developers who might have to read your code later, but also for all those automated tools that are trying to interpret what's on your page. Okay, but let's be real. Not all data fits into a perfect, neat little grid, right? So what happens then? Well, let's dive into some advanced layouts and look at the attributes that give you really precise control over your cells. All right, here is a classic layout puzzle. You've probably run into this before. We've got this contact info header, and we want it to stretch across both the phone and the email columns. But right now, it's just sitting awkwardly over the phone column, not what we want. So the question is, how do we make one single cell stretch across multiple columns? Thankfully, the answer is a simple but incredibly powerful HTML attribute.
It's called colspan. It's really just 3 simple steps. First, you find the cell you want to expand. Second, you add the colspan attribute right into the tag. And third, you set it equal to the number of columns you want it to span. So for our problem, we'd add colspan equal to 2 to that contact info header.
And look at that. Just like that, the layout is totally fixed. The header now spans perfectly over both columns. It's that easy. And by the way, the exact same logic works vertically too. You just use an attribute called rowspan to make a cell stretch down across multiple rows.
Whew, okay, we have covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From simple nested lists all the way to complex table spans. So the most important thing now is for you to take these skills and actually try them out.
So let's just do a quick recap. Remember these key takeaways. Nesting lists gives you depth and hierarchy. Tables are all about rows and cells. Using semantic tags like head and body makes your code more professional. And finally, colspan and rowspan give you control to merge cells horizontally and vertically. These are the absolute building blocks for pretty much any complex layout you're ever going to see on the web.
So are you ready for a real challenge? To really make these skills stick, I want you to try recreating this complex table layout from the source material. It combines literally everything we've just talked about. You've got all the tools you need. Now go build something awesome.